We're all here this afternoon rallied around this fact. In order for Rhode Island to get shots in the arms and beat COVID-19, we need a whole government, full state response. Today I will sign an executive order to engage communities in the state's vaccination efforts and reduce vaccine hesitancy. The executive order does a few things to put us on the path of achieving these goals. First, it directs Rhode Island Department of Health to engage cities and towns as full participants in administering and expanding Rhode Island's vaccination efforts. Second, it directs the Department of Health to update its comprehensive state and local level communications and outreach plan to reduce COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy, with a particular focus on communities who may be lagging behind the statewide average. Finally, the order encourages all state and municipal employees to receive the vaccine when they become eligible and urges them to become advocates and ambassadors to increase participation in Rhode Island's vaccination efforts. We know the fastest way out of this pandemic is through getting shots in arms quickly and simply. Vaccines are now how we get Rhode Islanders back to work, how we get Rhode Islanders back to school, and our businesses back in business. And as a state, we must do everything we can to overcome vaccine hesitancy and build trust with Rhode Islanders of every background from every community. That's why my administration is committed to engage in all 39 cities and towns and all the communities that make up our cities and towns to spread the word that these vaccines are safe and they will save lives. With that, I'll sign the order and take a few questions and encourage you to ask our municipal leaders here. And if you have any questions of Tom or Dr. Scott is here? Okay. Can you take a pen out of here? I can't even get that out of here. And I don't have one in my pocket, so.
I'll work on that. Let's take a few questions, and Dr. Scott will be here shortly.
What's the practical effect of this executive order?
Well, I think that it's clearly saying that we need to get people vaccinated, right? And that we don't want people to be afraid of getting vaccinated. The vaccine level, as I've said for several weeks as the incoming governor, is going to increase. And we need to build the capacity in the state to, when the vaccines increase, to get vaccines in the arms. And we are concerned that at some point in time, we're going to have more vaccines than people actually willing to take the vaccine and take the shot. So that's the purpose of this executive order. And it acknowledges that not only is it a state effort, but it is also driven by our municipal leaders, our church leaders, our civic leaders, all in this together to beat this enemy called COVID-19.
Governor, do you plan at this point to keep all the existing executive orders that were signed by Governor Raimondo in place, or do you have any plans to remove any?
Well, right now I think that we'll update them so that out of caution, and then we'll kind of review those every 30 days to make sure that it represents the conditions that we're living in right now, because this is a moving target, right? This is a moving target that says, you know, things are going to change, and we want things to change positively. And right now the message is we really need to follow protocols over the next few weeks. We have a variant that could potentially, you know, disrupt our recovery, and we need to pay close attention, follow the protocols, so that when daylight savings times come, we've got past that potential problem, and then move on to open up the state of Rhode Island. So that's the plan. I'll sign the order, and then please ask the doctor or anyone else the questions, and I'll give the microphone to some of our municipal leaders, and happy to stay in and answer any questions.
What about other essential workers like restaurant workers or anybody working in a grocery store? Will they also be prioritized as part of this sort of new thinking that includes teachers being?
Well, it's teachers first. I think other states have done it. I think we can figure it out to make sure that that happens. And of course, you know, we are thankful to all our frontline workers and all the people who are out there that are you know, serving the communities that they live in. And that would be no different on the food people or the people that are working in those industries. We'll take it in order, but I'm telling you, the vaccine is going to increase. You just had the President of the United States not only say vaccinate our teachers and get the schools open, But they also signaled out that by the end of May, we're going to have a supply that we're going to need to prepare for. So if you want to ask these, hi doctor, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. So that's
on
good.
board with this?
So if I may,
We need you to get close to the microphone.
Yeah.
If you would there. In fact, if you could sit down, that'd
Sit
be even
down,
better.
relax.
Relax.
So I want to say that I appreciate this approach. You know, this pandemic is unlike anything that we've ever seen. This really is like a world war. We have a common enemy, but in this case, we're all on the same team. We're all on the same side. And what I see today with these steps, this is a call to action. It's every man and woman it's going to take every single one of them on board to be part of the solution. And at the city level, I'll tell you that we've pledged to continue to be partners with the state in the distribution of these vaccines, and we've been doing our part. Everyone, I think most notably, Mayor Rivera in Central Falls, it's had the clinics going for the longest period of time, and we're happy to be part of the solution. But the reality is that under the circumstances that we've been working under, it's just unsustainable. We could keep it up for some time, but not over the long term. And this is a long-term effort. We're going to be vaccinating people for the next several months. And so the support coming from the federal government to the state government, but then making its way to the local government is so vital. So we appreciate this approach, and I think that as the vaccines ramp up, we're going to have more capacity, given more support to be able to get the shots in people's arms and get everything back to normal. So I appreciate this approach, and I know for my part here in Providence, we have pledged and will continue to do everything we can to be partners in the solution, and I know all of my brothers and sisters in cities and towns feel the same.
Doctors, Governor McKee's vision or announcement to prioritize teachers, does that conflict with what you're already doing? You've made note that Rhode Island is one of the only states that has not put them on a list somewhere at this point. Is that going to bump anybody down the list, or is there a reason we didn't have that prioritized?
It does not conflict. What we had agreed on as well is certainly as we get additional supply above and beyond what we were intending, teachers were going to be first in how we were able to deploy that. So it was very helpful that Biden announced yesterday not only that there's a focus nationwide on teachers, but that there's additional supply that will come through to be able to do that. So this will allow us to go forward with that additional supply to cover our teachers and those on the front lines with our school community, while continuing to advance the eligibility of our age, underlying illness, and geography groups. We're continuing to assess our state supply and want to see how we can not only stay on schedule for what we had in mind with those groups, but even advance the schedule or accelerate it to the extent that we can. We want vaccine for everyone. So the fact that more is coming is most helpful in ensuring that very shortly, if you want a vaccine, if you want to get vaccinated, you will be able to, and our goal is to be ready so that we can support that across the board.
Do you see allocating the Johnson & Johnson specifically for teachers and using that in a stream for them specifically?
What we're doing right now is evaluating our options across the board, because our key is to get Johnson & Johnson as soon as we have it, and we've just received it. We received the approval from or the support from the subcommittee on vaccines this morning. We want to get it out as soon as possible. We want people to understand how effective this vaccine is at keeping people alive and keeping people out of the hospital. And the fact that we now have 3 vaccines that helps us achieve that is remarkable and very exciting. So we're going to start with just getting Johnson & Johnson out through the current mechanisms that we have in place for vaccinating, and then we'll continue to explore which targeted groups would benefit most from the opportunity to have one vaccine compared to others.
With teachers, will there be site-specific for teachers, or will they be able to access all of the state vaccines?
We are still exploring. We want to figure out what mechanisms will work as effectively and quickly as possible. So it's great that pharmacies are already getting started with the additional supply that they have received from the feds. So we want to, continue to advance that and see if that works. Is there a way we can connect even more so with schools to make it easier for teachers to access, and then be able to assess to what extent the state-run facilities can support that.
Do you see, Doctor, a hesitancy, as the governor is talking about, in any communities or among any groups? I think you talked about first responders to get the vaccine, or is there just an overwhelming clamoring to get it for most?
There's without a doubt questions and concerns about the vaccine, and one of our key principles in our vaccination rollout for Rhode Island, in addition to equity and access, has been safety and people understanding the comfort and support there is for getting vaccinated. We have tools that are added to our toolbox that helps ensure that we can keep people alive and keep people out of the hospital. So the more comfortable, the more familiar people are with understanding this, the more we will have individuals from every community able to access it. And we appreciate your partnership at helping to get that message out there to those who have questions or who may have some hesitancy, which is fully understood. It's our job to help make sure they have the information they need to make the decision that helps protect their household and helps protect themselves.
Is there a specific site or protocol for someone who has a predisposition to anaphylactic reactions or anything else that they may have received, chemotherapy, whatever it is? Should they go directly to a hospital for extra scrutiny or anything like that? Has that been designed?
It's a great question. We have ensured that regardless of where the vaccine is being administered, the support for monitoring for an anaphylactic reaction or any kind of reaction is in place. So whether it's at a church or at a school or at our state-run site or municipal pod, we want to ensure that the support through our EMS partners or other clinical providers is present and there at the time of administration, regardless of where it occurs.